Our goal today from this video is to solder 2 wires to your motor and 2 wires to your switch. You need all of these items out. You should have some sort of vacuum vise, a soldering iron, your wire stripper you should still have out, safety gloves, and safety glasses. You'll need your solder, your 4 wires, your motor, and your switch. Now with your soldering iron, we need to talk about this a little bit. This soldering iron gets over 600 degrees Fahrenheit, and the very tip of this is extremely hot. That is what you'll be using. This whole area is extremely warm. You must have on your safety gloves when using the soldering iron. You don't want to touch any of this area. This would quickly burn you, and so it's vitally important that you have on safety gloves and safety glasses. Whenever you are not using the soldering iron, because you will have to put it away at times while you're changing the stuff that you are actually soldering, you need to make sure you put it in the stand and let it rest there. Be very careful that the cord does not wrap around the coils and lay inside there and burn through the coils. Now with the vise, you probably have some sort of vacuum vise, and the way these work is you take these handles, and by pulling them down, it creates a suction, and so your vise does not move around. The first thing we are going to solder is your motor. What we need to do with the motor here is we need to open up the vise, and it should be done with this swivel handle. Move it back, and I want to be down inside here like this, so the jaws of the vise will grab it, and then I tighten it up, keep spinning it until it gives a nice firm grasp on the motor. Once you have your motor in the vise, what you need to do is bend these small little clips out. These clips allow our wires to go through here, and you just need to bend these out, and you don't want to be real violent with them because they could break off. And I want to bend them out so they face out in an outward direction. Now what you need to do is slip your wires through the hole. I would take the red wire, and with my hook I've bent in it, I want to place it through there and let it rest in there. The black one I want to put on the right side. Take the black wire, place it through there. Now what you need is your wire strippers that you used before. And with the wire strippers, I'm going to pinch these down a little bit. At the very ends I have small little grippers, and I want to just give it a light little pinch, and both wires just go ahead and lightly pinch them down. Now I'm going to show you how to pick up the soldering iron. If I'm a right-handed person, I want to pick up the soldering iron with my right hand. I pick it up just like I pick up a pencil, because that feels very comfortable. Now when you hold the soldering iron, it's important that it's very level and very still. So what I recommend doing is put your elbow on the table, and this will keep your elbow extremely still. Same thing with your left hand. And in your left hand you need the solder. And you'll hold these two items just like this with your elbows down, and this will keep your hands still for the soldering. Now with the soldering iron, the tip of the soldering iron you want to place right on the wires. And this is when it's nice to be able to hold it nice and steady, because you need to set it there for a few seconds to let it heat up the wire and the little clip that you're soldering it to. Then with the solder, what you do is you just tap it on the wire, and it begins to melt, joining the two circuits together. Just release, and the two joints will cool. Here on the second one, same process. I put my soldering iron down on the wires and letting it heat up. Just takes a couple seconds. Take the solder and push it on the wire, and you should see it join, and it cools very quickly. And now my two pieces are soldered. Sometimes your soldering iron will get a collection of solder at the very tip, and the way you clean this off is by using the wet sponge, and you just lightly rub your soldering iron on the sponge and give it a little turn, and it'll help clean off your soldering iron. Before I take out my motor, I want to bend my wires up. It'll be much easier later on when I attach my motor. Then you need to place your switch in your swivel vise. Clamp it into place. Then I need to get my next two wires, and I need to place them in the two holes of the switch. There's a middle hole, and then there's a hole that's offset a little bit. I like to put the red wire in the middle hole. So I'm just going to place it through there, set it down. The black wire, place it through that hole. What I need is take my wire strippers and use the little crimpers at the end, and I'm going to smash my wire together. On the red and black wire. So just take the soldering iron and you place it on your connection as closest to where the wire goes through the hole as you can. Nice and steady. Take your soldering iron and lightly tap your solder into the end of your iron, and you will get a nice connection. And then I'm just going to move over to the next one. Take the soldering iron, put it on the very connection there, and go ahead and touch my solder and allow both of my connections to cool off. Put my soldering iron away. Make sure that you unplug your soldering iron when you're done soldering your switch and your motor. Then make sure you put everything inside your bag that you need to and put all equipment away in the proper location.